Well, there seem to be lots of people joining, and if you can hear me, yeah, I've had a haircut, and I've just brought my wife back from having a haircut as well. So, I'm actually have lost the shaggy dog appearance, and it seems to be done very well by the both the hairdressers in Berkhamsted. Actually, I thought I would talk today, and it's going to have to be fairly brief because I've got to go off about 8 o'clock because I've got to organise dinner, and I actually started late because I brought my wife back from having a haircut. But basically, I'm very appreciative of the number of people who do follow what I do, and also the number of people who pick up Twitter accounts, and particularly some of my Twitter comments. And I thought I might mention, just to take you into a slight trade secret, about a lot of people wonder, how do I get pieces of information that other people don't get? And one reason is I was taught when I was on The Guardian by the Controller and Auditor General at the time, as a chap called Sir John Bourne, who's long since retired. He said, when you're looking at government reports, or when you're looking at MPs' reports, don't just look at the front of something, go and look actually backwards. Go to the end of the report, because it's at the end of the report that lots of information is sort of hidden away from people. And this is what happened actually with the Department of Work and Pensions accounts. If you notice, I tweeted about 3 scandals involving waste of money on IT programs, and also the fact that Amber Rudd got a severance payment when she left. And also, actually, I used in the blog the bonus and salary of the person in charge of Universal Credit when I wrote about it. And the interesting thing is, you won't find these if you look at the front of the DWP Rawton accounts, but by law they're required every year to disclose what money they've wasted, and also details of their all their top people, their salaries, their pensions and everything else. So by going to the back, you've had a number of stories about what's been going with the DWP that have been ignored, and I thought I'd probably let you into that. And that is one reason why some of my reports, or some of the information I pick up, is I don't just follow what is being put in front of you at the beginning of the report, but actually dig down into the hidden bits at the end. I thought the other thing I would mention, first of all, I expect you're all extremely excited that finally you're going to court on Tuesday, and it's going to be live screened, so you'll be able to follow it on YouTube. Basically, one or two of the stories I've done that's at the end of my coverage in the last few weeks. And one has been the discovery, and this was by a 50s woman, Miffy, about the 4.6 million men who got paid basically their pensions topped and contributions topped up so they could retire on pension, on a decent pensions. And on top of that, what is interesting, as well as my blog attracting women who are annoyed, I've had one man contacted me who hadn't realised that there was an offer of this, although had claimed 1 year, and wanted to know whether he could claim back anything else. And I suggested he talk to the DWP. As it happens, the DWP were right, and he was only entitled to 1 year. But it actually does show the breadth of interest in that blog, which is now basically about 56,000 hits. It's enormous, actually, and I'm hoping that they will find some way to bring it in the court case. The other one thing that I found very interesting is something I wrote yesterday when I got a email from the GMB union, who I think I'm on their press release, drawing attention to the fact that the government yesterday afternoon put out, without any press release or anything, a written statement saying that basically they'd given in against fighting the trade unions over what amounted to age discrimination in their workplace pensions by the government in 2015, introducing basically a two-tier system, allowing people within 10 years of retirement to get all the benefits of everything else, of everything in the pension, but stopping it and putting up the pension age for people who were 10 years away from retirement. And the interesting thing is, and this backs up Backto60's point in going for a judicial review and courts, because what happens is the fire brigade union took the government to court. Initially, the government sort of disagreed, and it had to go to the Court of Appeal, like you're going to the Court of Appeal. But then the Court of Appeal backed the fire brigades union, saying it was discriminatory, that there was age discrimination against both men and women, that they'd introduced the system this way. On top of that, the other unions then joined in, because the government then froze the amount of money in all the civil service pension schemes, and also in other ones, the NHS and other things. And they got that lifted yesterday by saying, well, we're going for a judicial review. You haven't even taken any action on the case you've lost. And the good news is that the government now is going to have to go back to scratch and restart what they were doing in 2022. And a lot of people are going to get some money back in either increased benefits or in lower contributions. And this is something I didn't mention in the blog, but the GMB said to me afterwards that that they probably would be some 50s women who may be working part-time, and in that age group I mean forced to work longer in either the civil service, the NHS, also actually prison officers, and quite a lot of other people, teachers as well, who basically may benefit from this. I mean, it may still take a year or so before you get paid, but this would be for anybody in that position. I suggest they contact their local trade union rep. You may have a chance of getting a double payment, if Backto60 win over the basic state pension, and two, because the unions have won over the government fiddling and forcing people to work longer on the other one, so on your workplace pension. So I thought I'd just mention that. And then the other great bit of news, which I'm still to blog on, is the decision by Backto60 to set up a people's tribunal on basically the much wider issue of the UN Convention for the elimination of discrimination against women, CEDAW. And that, I think, is going to be a very major thing, because after Margaret Thatcher signed up, successive governments, just like you over the pensions, have done nothing about this either. I mean, so we've had John Major, Tony Blair, Gordon Brown, David Cameron and Nick Clegg, Theresa May, and now Boris Johnson, not actually doing anything but basically doing nothing about this. And by actually having a tribunal, it would be great if you, if actually the tribunal is held, the issues are raised, there are going to be 3 independent judges, plus John Cooper QC, who's incredibly highly regarded in the criminal law, and of course actually Jackie Jones, and who is a real expert on this whole issue. So actually if this happens, and the government can be pressed to pass legislation going further than just signing up to it, but actually putting into legislation, this is going to transform not just the lives of the 3.8 million women who are still waiting for their pension, but actually for a load of, for basically half the population, women and girls, who will have much greater rights, and actually the government will have to stop what has been excessive discrimination against women for years and years and years. So we'll have to I noticed someone saying this, thinking there was no problem. I mean, that's why CEDAW could be raised in your court case, because we'd ratified it. But actually we would have been much better position if it had been put into domestic law. Most countries have. So I think the MP actually does, Chris has mentioned, is actually wrong on that. So I mean, there's no question that actually should be, that there should be a big change. Again, it will probably be a long fight and take time, but it's going to be, I think it's going to be worth it, and I think it's terrific that this has happened. I was going to say, sort of generally, I think you've had a very good campaign, actually, because Backto60, by sticking to their guns and not taking the advice of the MP, Tim Lawton, who actually told a load of 50s women that they should abandon the court case because MPs could negotiate something for the women, is really been important, because the fact that you, again, I might say, you've got every issue that's been raised by your legal team, Mike Mansfield and everybody else, can now be raised again. And the DWP are going to have to answer the questions, and hopefully going to be pressed about the auto credits and why they stopped the auto credits for women in the in the last 8 years between 2010 and 2018. So hopefully it's going to be good. Now the interesting thing is, I don't know how long what will happen. The fact you've got 3 judges will mean 3 judges will have to confer with each other on what they think about it, which makes me think I will be amazed if there was a instant decision on this at the end of the hearing, because actually the fact you've got 3, basically they will have to come to an agreement, and you may get a strange situation of a majority and a minority verdict on it, that one judge disagrees with the other 2 or something like that. So I think they are, you are actually, that is going to be interesting, but it means again you're probably going to have to wait a minimum of a couple of months, or possibly 3 months, for the actual decision. And also I would hope, given the way you were treated last time, it's just quite unbelievable that you turned it down and didn't actually go into great reasonings apart from rejecting it all. This time they're going to actually have to give you proper reasons for what they're doing in either supporting you or not supporting you. So hopefully this will be good news for you in 2 or 3 months' time. And in the meantime, then you can join in the campaign to get CEDAW going, so that actually you will have never given up. And I think actually this is really important. You're actually really on the fringe of a great movement for women altogether, because although there's been loads of headlines about Black Lives Matter, and there'll be some terrible things in the United States about the way black people have been killed, you actually will be basically setting up the equivalent of by going across this, women's lives matter over this issue. And I think that this will be really good, and you will be doing it in a way, you won't be toppling statues, but you will be, I suspect, raising all the issues and bringing it to Parliament's attention that they've got to do something about it. And I will think that will be great, actually. Someone's saying surely they can't turn us down with an explanation of stuff. No, they can't, actually. I think you've got 3 judges there. They're not going to. They would look very stupid if they did that twice. And all that would happen is you could then go to the Supreme Court saying you won't get a reason why they said no. I think you will do well. But anyway, I really do think that this movement of yours has, by backing this case, has put up an agenda. And it's, when you say it's a small, basically some people say, well, it's only one small group, but you're 3.8 million of you, which is a lot, actually. But you will then be joining in a campaign that basically will affect about 50 million women. And that is terrific, actually. And it's not the sort of thing that I think the government can ignore. And furthermore, are going to have great difficulty in ignoring it. And hopefully you will get some MPs who will go around backing you and be prepared to do something in the House of Commons to get this issue raised. So I mean, I'm really hopeful. Well, big issue. I did think of one other rather extraordinary thing is the government, and Priti Patel made a big thing about how annoyed she was about people tearing down statues of past slavers. But the interesting thing is, I thought, I was also saying, you know, these people shouldn't be doing this, and etc., and certainly shouldn't receive any recognition. The funny thing is that Parliament Square has got Emily Pankhurst, and I don't think I'm wrong in saying she went to jail for her cause, and we have a statue up to someone who basically, in the eyes of the British government, broke the law, but is now actually there, and also didn't need any sense of basically didn't need any protection from anybody when people were carrying on about statues and so on, which shows you how much she's revered, really. I don't know whether there's a lot more I can say, really, but you are really, I'm really hopeful that this time something's going to happen, actually. And actually, and this time you're going to get some form of justice, because it's so unjust what you've got, what's happened to you, and you had to fight such a long time for it. And you've also not, I mean, I don't want to get into disputes with WASPI or anything, but I will say you've not been 100% back to get full restitution by everybody, which is really bad, because actually that's what you're entitled to. That's what you can ask the courts to do. And frankly, by pressing it that way, rather than just lobbying MPs and hoping they'll do something, the DWP has to take notice, has to marshal arguments against your case. Those arguments have to convince judges, and if they don't convince judges, they've lost. So I'm really hopeful. I've been very proud, actually, to have taken up this cause, and also been very moved by the large number of people who follow my blog, and also increased interest basically in my own blog, and it's spread it a lot, so to loads and loads of people. So I am really pleased, actually. And actually Joanne Welsh and your team and all your team who monitor, who put this together, have made a fantastic job of it all. So and like you, when I start something, I don't give up. I mean, I've been a great nuisance to a load of people, and even in the past led to ministers having to resign by pursuing stories to the end. I don't know whether you'll get any resignations this time if they lose, but you might have a case, say, that Philip Oppenheimer, having opposed you all the way, perhaps should hand in his resignation if the department lose. But it's just a thought anyway. I'm probably going to have to end this very shortly. I don't know whether anybody had any questions. If you have, in the next few minutes, I mean, I'm happy to try and answer them. And I need to get some water. So anyway, I also hope you might have found some of the other things I've written in my blog, because we are pursuing what I believe is a move to an elective dictatorship in this country, not with Boris listening to Mr. Cummings about things and trying to get rid of people's rights. And it's very important that your case is being heard now, because they're obviously going to reform the judicial review situation about trying to what they regard as second-guessing Parliament, which again is an infringement. It actually belongs more to what Donald Trump is trying to do in America with the American Supreme Court and other things than what you expect in Britain. So this is very, this is a really important thing, actually. So, someone's asking, well, yes, I will be watching the online case, actually, because as it's on YouTube. And what I will try and do is blog a summary at some point, like I did last time. I suppose it's a thought, will I write a book? I'm wondering whether there should be a book, or whether actually really if there's a book on this, it ought to be written by a powerful 50s woman as well. Or perhaps I should collaborate actually with one. Because actually if you do win, and in this is an amazing case actually, and it probably is worth pulling together everything. When I think of all the different things I've found out since doing this, I too have been amazed. I mean, and I remember this at the time, ringing up in a matter of considerable excitement Joanne Welsh when she asked me to look into all saying, I seem to have discovered that the reason why all the women lost and didn't have any money and the government did this is they swindled them out of 271 billion on the sly in a change to the money put into the National Insurance Fund. And I was just flabbergasted about that. I thank Joanne was as well, because it wasn't something we thought we would do, but we would find out. But that has been that and the 4.6 million men getting this extra money put in have been the situation. So anyway, I'm just going to leave you and say that good luck on Tuesday, and it would make hopefully it's going to be a good day. Yes, it is a bit like the Daggermans fight, and that made a great film. Perhaps we should have a film. There's certainly a lot of brilliant coverage outside the Royal Courts of Justice and the last hearing to justify a film. Basically, I'd just like to wish you a lot of luck. I am actually going to have to go and cook a dinner, and just like to say thank you very, very much. And I'm going to disappear, and I'm really pleased the number of people who've seemed to have turned up to listen as well. Thanks very much, and cheerio, and good luck again.